And for more on this story, I'm joined by political analyst Tyson Barker from the Aspen Institute in Berlin. Welcome, Tyson. In fact, the Deputy Attorney General went on to say that Michael Cohen would have to pay a heavy price for all the violations that he's made. But to what extent does the former lawyer of Donald Trump and a close associate implicate the president himself?
Let's be clear. This is the fixer of Donald Trump for more than a decade. He's basically like a surrogate son. This guy knows where all the bodies are buried. And what he's done is pled guilty to 2 charges where he said he made illicit payments, hush money, on behalf of a candidate that would directly affect the election. That is a criminal claim, and the candidate, which was not stated by name, but is clearly Donald Trump. This is a big deal.
But he doesn't mention him by a name. Does that
Correct.
make a difference?
Not really. I mean, we know it's kind of like smoking causing cancer. All the indications point to him. His only association with a federal candidate was with Donald Trump, so it is Donald Trump.
So you feel that Donald Trump is clearly implicated by Michael Cohen's guilty plea. So what does it mean for Donald Trump? Can he be indicted or impeached?
So there are 2 avenues here. You mentioned them, indictment and impeachment. An indictment is unprecedented. It's never happened. Prosecutors in the past, Justice Department prosecutors have decided not to indict sitting presidents for criminal or civil acts. And there's a lot of precedent for this under Nixon, under Bill Clinton, etc. So that's unlikely, but not impossible. Impeachment, that's a criminal process. Impeachment, which is a political process, is much more possible. That's something that would be adjudicated in Congress. And honestly, the first test of this will be the midterm elections, because if the Democrats win, let's say, 80 seats, that's going to be something that they're going to have a mandate to pursue.
OK, now let's look at the other case, a former campaign manager of Donald Trump, Paul Manafort. Now, Paul Manafort is another former Trump associate, is a former campaign manager, as I mentioned. Now, he's been found guilty by a jury on 8 charges. The judge declared a mistrial on 10 other counts. Now, Manafort was convicted of filing false tax returns in connection with millions of dollars earned lobbying for Ukraine. Tyson, we heard Donald Trump defend Manafort, but he didn't say anything about Michael Cohen. Why do you think that was the case?
These are 2 qualitatively different cases. The White House, the president are feeling the white-hot heat from the Cohen guilty plea. And he doesn't want to implicate himself. He's already gone on record saying that he didn't know about the payments. That is now proven to be false. That's what Cohen said under oath. With Paul Manafort, he has a lot more playroom. He can say, because a lot of these associations with the Ukrainian government happened before the campaign, he's not really going to be directly implicated. So to the extent that he's trying to make his case in the court of public opinion, it's a lot easier to do so dealing with Manafort.
Looking at both these cases collectively, how damaging are they for Donald Trump, especially with midterm elections coming up in November, as you mentioned?
Well, we're seeing the drip between the Mueller investigation, between the Manafort case, between the Cohen case. The noose is tightening around a culture of corruption that was involved in the campaign. That's going to have political implications, obviously, in November in the elections, but it could also have legal implications. We could see more indictments coming down the road for people like Roger Stone, even for Don Jr.
Right. Tyson Barker from the Aspen Institute, thank you very much for that assessment.